But without further ado, she's a champion of sorts. That's right, the winner of season 14 of Top Chef. She has won Tournament of Champions. She has been a judge and contestant on like every show on Food Network. Born and raised here in Los Angeles, which I don't know if you knew that. Her restaurant is Playa Provisions, so hope you can, go ask her for a reservation for tonight. It's Saturday. And you can see her this summer on Bobby's Triple Threat and Barbecue Brawl. The author of Sunkissed Cooking, please welcome Brooke Williamson.
I was almost going to grab the mic, and then I realized I had one on my face. Hi, guys. How are you? Thank you for making it out here on this beautifully sunny, hot day. I'm not sure how many of you are here for seeking shelter from the rain, but I'll take you. Raise of hands for all of you who actually came here to see me. Thank you. Okay, all right, I love that. Thank you for being here. This is so much fun to be at a book festival. I've had a very long career. I think that Michael just aged me by like 15 years with all of those. I don't even know how I found time to do all that stuff. But I will say being here as an author is something that I've wanted to do for several years, many years, and I'm sorry it took me so long to get here, but I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so glad you guys made it out today. I'm so glad there's a tent here as well. You guys, it's like the first cold, rainy day of the year. I was like sitting back there shivering, like I'm gonna get the adrenaline going and get warmed up. So my book, do you guys have the book? Woo! Anybody have the book? Thank you. It came out in November, so there's been a moment to purchase it. But if you haven't, I'll be selling and signing books in this tent right after this. So hopefully you'll like these recipes and you'll feel inspired and you'll want to get yourself a book if you haven't got one already. The book itself is a vegetable forward book. I know that sounds really obnoxious. I've said it so many times. Vegetable forward. It's not vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian. If you know anything about me, I cook a lot. I work for the Beef Council. But I'm a Southern California native. I'm a Los Angeles native. And I grew up going to farmers markets as a kid, and I had a garden where I grew vegetables and fruit as a kid, where my mom did, and I picked them and I ate them. And it felt sort of like, not as a play on words, sort of organic to write a book based on the produce of Southern California and how abundant it is and how that can be a focal point of your table, regardless of whether or not you eat meat. So that is what this book is. I also went through this weird phase where I was making a lot of savory pancakes. If you read the intro of my book, pancakes played a huge part in my childhood. When I was like 6 or 7, I decided that I wanted to be a professional chef when I was like 6 or 7. And I started by opening the Betty Crocker cookbook and making pancakes. And I really mastered that Betty Crocker pancake recipe by the age of like 8. And then I started going out into my backyard and picking fruit to go in the pancakes, and I got really creative with pancakes and like strawberries. But as I grew up, I realized that pancakes sort of were this wonderfully blank canvas for pretty much anything. So this recipe that I'm doing today is a savory pancake. It's a corn cake, which is perfect for summer. It's perfect for brunch. It's perfect for like little hors d'oeuvres. And so I'm going to start with that. And also, guys, please don't be shy. I'm here for you. I'm here to... this makes it so much more interesting for everybody if you guys are asking the questions that you want to hear the answers to, whether it's related to what I'm doing up here or anything in general. Please don't hesitate to raise your hand, ask a question at any moment of this. I will answer pretty much anything. I used to say I'm an open book. I guess I'm kind of an open book. You guys probably read all about me in the gossip columns these days. But I said that to the last crowd that I did a demo for at Palm Desert Food and Wine, and somebody raised their hand and asked me how to get rid of gophers in his backyard. I did my best to answer the question. I've never had a gopher problem, but like several other people in the audience had gopher problems, and so that became the topic of the demo. We're not going to do that today, guys. So I'm going to start with making some spicy maple syrup. I've got this really fancy maple syrup here. If you guys tried this, it's like bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup. This is what we're going with today. So I'm going to warm this up slightly, and I'm going to make this a spicy maple syrup. I'm going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I'm going to slice some chilies, and then I'm really just going to get this warm so I can bloom the spiciness of the chilies, and then I'm going to add scallions at the end to make it fresh, and then we'll get going on the pancakes. Again, you guys have any questions? You want to shout out anything? There is, Peggy is walking around in the green shirt with a mic. If you just want to hear the sound of your voice on a microphone, that's fine too. I hate my voice, but who knows? Maybe you guys love the sound of your voice and just want to hear it. That's fine too. All right, so I've got some maple syrup in there. Really, any recipe in this book is meant to be adapted to your taste. I don't ever want people saying, I didn't make that because I don't eat bacon, or I didn't make that because I don't like spicy food. Do you? These are all sort of suggested recipes. They're all tested, and they will be good, I promise you, if you do them according to the recipe. But if you don't like bacon, leave the bacon out. If that's going to prevent you from making them, then, you do you. And I've got a Fresno chili here, which are sort of my favorite chilies. I'm just going to cut around the edges. I've also got a Serrano chili here. If you don't like your syrup spicy, then don't make it spicy. But this is, again, following the recipe here. I'm doing my best. They've been tested a bunch of times. And these knives are really sharp, these Shun knives. I heard I might be getting one, which I'm very excited about. All right, so I'm just gonna cut little slivers of these chilies. Often, you guys, I ordered rainbows, and we're getting like torrential downpour. It was supposed to be done. You're fine. You guys are fine, right? I think this structure is relatively stable. We'll see. This could be really fun. All right, so I've got little slivers of Fresno chili. Fresno chilies are great because they're really floral. They have mild spice, but you can still taste a little bit of spice. I use them all the time. Fun fact, they're from Fresno. And I don't use the seeds of these chilies because I'm not trying to make it as spicy. If you wanted this to be spicier, use the seeds. The seeds and the ribs of chilies are the spiciest part of the chilies. So, all right. So this maple syrup is warm. I'm gonna take it off the heat, or I guess I can just turn this off. And then I'm just gonna sort of bloom these chilies in here, add a little bit of seasoning, and then by the time we are done making pancakes, this will be nice and warm. I still want these to have a little bit of structure, so I'm not boiling this. I'm just sort of letting that happen. And then salt, a little salt and a little pepper. And then I'll add the scallions at the end because I want those to maintain some freshness. They were like, it's gonna clear up, the sun's coming out. I mean, come on. All right, so we're gonna make savory pancakes here. Can you hear me? This is wild. We're in Los Angeles, right? Thank you. Thanks. Okay. So, I'm sorry, I'm just having a really hard time focusing. All right, so we're gonna start with wet ingredients. I have some buttermilk here, which is really fantastic. It's why you see a lot of like biscuits and pancakes made with buttermilk is because it has it has the ability to create moisture unlike any other liquid, really. And so you'll see buttermilk pancakes, you'll see buttermilk scones, it's really kind of a great way to sort of maintain moisture. 2 eggs, and then a tablespoon of oil. And that's our wet ingredients. These recipes in here, Specifically, this one is great for pretty much any time of year, even though it's in a corn chapter that is really sort of geared towards summer when the corn is delicious. But there's also cornbread in there that's made with creamed corn, like a can of creamed corn. I really wanted to make it so that if you love this recipe, it doesn't need to be done during the summer. You can use frozen sweet white corn, you could use canned corn, you could use, I would recommend frozen corn over canned corn any day of the week. But, you don't have to wait for summer to make these recipes.
We do have a question here.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you tell us how long it takes to tape an episode of TOC, considering they have to clean the kitchen after each duel?
Oh, so you're concerned about the cleaning time in between?
It's one of our favorite shows, and we keep thinking with the mess that they make.
We make a mess.
How long does it take to have to clean all that?
That's a great question. It's funny because as chefs in professional kitchens, we are trained to be neat and tidy and orderly, and it's really, I like to say that TV really doesn't translate in so many ways to real life. And I think on Triple Threat, we compete against other chefs who come in and they're like wiping down their station. I'm literally like throwing blenders across the room and like wiping everything on my cutting board onto the floor because I'm not going to waste the time to clean up, which again goes against everything that we sort of are taught as chefs. Long story short, an episode of Tournament of Champions takes about a day and a half. There's usually, I think, like 3 battles or something, or 4 battles. I don't know, it's been a minute since 4 battles, thank you. In an episode, it takes about a day and a half to shoot an episode. The cleaning in between the rounds on any of these shows, surprisingly, takes very little time. These culinary teams that come in, they come in like in hazmat suits and gloves, and they will clean entire kitchens in 4.5 seconds. It's really remarkable, and I stand there and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't cook like this normally. Like they're like, I know, Brooke, it's fine, this is the 19th time I've cleaned up after you, it's fine. And there are some chefs who are messier and more organized. Just kind of depends. But yes, long story short, it takes about a day and a half, 2 days to shoot one episode of Tournament of Champions. All right, so I've got sugar, I've got salt. I don't know which one is which. I've got some baking powder. I can tell which one that one is. And I'm mixing all of my dry ingredients, all-purpose flour and then cornmeal, because of course these are corn cakes. This is essentially a cornbread recipe that is just sort of turned into pancakes, I think.
We have another question.
Yes.
Brooke, for people who cannot make pancakes to save their lives, even at the non-tender age of 8, what is your tip for getting it to look like a pancake and getting it flipped and all of that?
Well, I'm going to do it for you right now, but it's kind of different with every recipe. So like this recipe is going to have lots of chunky pieces of corn in it, so I'm not going to be able to see the beautiful little bubbles that normally like a plain buttermilk pancake will show you. Like it'll start to form brown on the outside. But also, like, I'm up for a free-form pancake. As long as it's kind of cooked through, I think you're good there. And honestly, what matters most to me in general is that things taste good. So who cares what they look like? We're not food stylists here. We're people who want to eat good food, right? All right, so I'm going to combine my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients. I think that's how the baking thing happens. And then I'm going to add all of the fun little flavors. Fun fact, I actually really don't like cheddar cheese. Sorry for any of you who are from Wisconsin out there. Cheddar cheese to me, like, I think it's more of a textural thing, so I actually feel okay about adding it to batters. I don't know why I'm talking to you like you agree with me. Very few people agree with me. You guys all love cheddar cheese, don't you? Yeah. No, you don't? Okay, what's your favorite cheese? Gouda. Unexpected answer. I love that. I love that. All right, so I'm adding some fun stuff here. I've got some bacon because, like I said, it's not a vegetarian cookbook, and we're adding some smoky flavor. This bacon is cooked, and then I'm gonna cut it into small little pieces and then mix it into my batter here. I'm getting my pan warmed up on this stove. I actually have no idea how warm it is. These stoves, these are like the bane of our existence when we do cooking demos, because nobody knows, like you can't see flames, you have no idea how hot that is. What's gonna happen? It's not hot enough. So what I'm looking for is some bubbles. I don't want it to be hot because I want to get it to brown and cook through. Like with a proper pancake, you kind of want it to be partially cooked through before you flip it, and it's a delicate balance between browning it and burning it. So however much bacon you like here, I feel like that's good. And then I'm adding some jalapeno here for some nice sort of vegetal green pepper flavor with a touch of heat. I have the Fresno chili here, you could do that too. I think these fun, fresh ingredients really not only add a lot of flavor, but also texture. So, again, I'm not adding the seeds here. I'm just adding the pepper. Sorry, my hands are so cold. This might not look as graceful as it should. My nose is running. I'm like freezing. Trying to look really comfortable up here. And then a lot of people have like lots of tricks for cutting corn off the cob. I like to do it on its side instead. A lot of people like to do that over a bowl. Lots of different people will tell you lots of different ways that this should happen. I say do it the most comfortable way.
We have another question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have a favorite show to compete or judge on?
Well, to compete on, I will say Triple Threat is the most challenging and also rewarding show that I've ever competed on. It's really about making great food, which I appreciate. There are some shows that are about the gameplay of it and make you do crazy things with ingredients that don't work with each other. I will say Bobby is very kind to us and gives us ingredients that really are meant to work with each other, because the goal is to, holy moly, the goal is to make, the goal on that show is to make food that tastes good and looks good, and to make great food, which I really, my whole career is based on experiences, giving people experiences with great food. So inherently that makes the most sense to me. It also has taken probably years off of my life, because the stress that you see happening on that show is very, very real. I don't sleep for a month when we're shooting that show, and yet it's my favorite, which is crazy. Was this a fountain before? Is that always a fountain, or is that a sculpture with a thing around it? All right. So now that my pan is nice and warm, any other questions? I see all the way in the back there. All right, I'm just gonna sort of do little baby cakes here so that we can stack them.
I just wanted to ask, with all the accomplishments you've achieved so far, what's next in your journey? What are other challenges you want to give yourself?
So does it all have to be challenging? Does all of life have to be challenging? Can't we just have a little fun sometimes? I've got some great vacations planned. I mean, I will say at the age of 8, 10, 12, when I was like, I'm going to be a professional chef. That is what I'm going to own a restaurant. I never in my wildest dreams expected to be up on a stage, you know, cooking at the LA Times Festival of Books. I never anticipated that I would have a book that did, I forgot the cheese, you guys. I never expected to be on TV. I never expected to have done half the things that I've done in my life at this point. So I'm pretty satisfied with having accomplished the goals that I set out for myself at that. I'm just gonna put this right on top here. That should be in there, by the way. That I feel like at this point it's about balance and maintaining my life, which is not an easy thing. You know, you see a lot of chefs sort of come in and out of the industry. It's a grueling industry. I feel very fortunate to have several different outlets creatively. You know, I have the whole TV outlet, which really is lovely just from a creative standpoint. I have, you know, Playa Provisions, which is going strong. We're on like 11. You guys have been to Playa? Thank you. We are about to hit 11 years open, and you know, for a restaurant, that says a lot, I think. And you know, there's kind of constantly stuff happening. So, you know, I guess it's healthy to continuously set new goals for yourself. But right now, I just want to continue doing what I'm doing and being able to, you know, kind of give back to the communities and the people that have supported me my whole career. So again, thank you guys for being here. It means a lot to me.
We have a question from a young chef in training.
What is your name?
Camila.
Camila, very nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. I'm sure this is how you wanted to spend your Saturday.
My favorite vegetable is carrots. What's yours and why?
Oh, wow. That's a tough question. Carrots are great. Not my favorite vegetable, but honestly, I have a really love-hate relationship with artichokes. I have a couple of artichoke recipes in this book. I love artichokes probably more than any other vegetable. I also hate cleaning them and cooking them. So I love going out to eat, but going out to other restaurants that are cooking artichokes for me. I love that. Yeah, I'd have to say artichokes. I have a lot of favorite vegetables. I have found, like, I suddenly love okra. And there's an okra recipe in my book that I will recommend for any of you who feel like you don't like okra. I feel like I'm constantly finding new vegetables that I love for different reasons. So thank you for a question.
Hi.
Hi.
LA is a very huge foodie town, so I wanted to find out what your top 3 places are in Los Angeles to get a bite to eat.
Ooh. Well.
Beliefs or
I travel a lot, so when I'm home, I actually find myself eating at home or at work a lot. I have a favorite Thai restaurant in my neighborhood called Ayara in Westchester. I do find myself going to like Koreatown for Korean barbecue a lot. I don't know, I keep it really casual in this city. I love like going down to the Redondo Pier and getting a steamed crab. I know this is not the answers you're looking for right now. I'm like, takeout is my jam. Yeah, it's funny. I find myself knowing the least amount about the restaurants in my own city because when I'm home, I'm kind of a homebody. But I do, you know, I frequent a lot of my friends' restaurants because I just love the atmospheres. I go to my friend Antonia's restaurant, Scopa, all the time. That's where I have my, like, monthly girls' dinner at Scopa. You know, if you guys have suggestions for me, I know I need to get out more. All right, so like you can see, the bottom of that cake, can you guys see that? Yeah. The bottom of that cake is nice and golden brown, and I'm okay with it being a little bit fudgy inside because it'll warm all the way through and those eggs will be cooked.
Hi.
Hi.
So I really like to try new recipes for my older sister whenever I go visit her, but she follows a gluten-free diet. What alternative flours would you recommend for a recipe like this that would make it still keep the same flavor and structural integrity?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, you know, you'd think that corn recipes with cornmeal might be gluten-free. Most of them have all-purpose flour. I use the cup for cup flour from King Arthur. Is phenomenal. It's a combination of different flours. Like there's tapioca, there's rice, it's almost like, you know how Mexican Coke is like a combination of, or maybe it's Mexican Diet Coke. Which one is it that has like the combination of sweeteners? You can't taste just one. This is a really bad example. The King Arthur gluten-free flour, it's a combination of a bunch of different flours, and you kind of don't get that like glutinous tapioca or the like, it's a perfect combination. So anywhere where you would use regular or all-purpose flour, I would use that cup for cup. And then I've just got some scallions here. You can actually put these scallions right into the pancakes, but I like to put them in the syrup because I like to see them and I like to have them feel a little bit fresh and crisp. And then I'm just going to toss this right into that syrup, which is no longer super hot. I've also got some cotija cheese here. So we've got the cheddar cheese baked into these cakes. And then I've got the cotija cheese for that like salty, crumbly texture just to garnish with. And these are almost done. Any other questions? You have one, Peggy. What can I answer for you?
When you're judging, is there a food that you know you're going to have to eat that you just can't stand? You know what I mean?
You guys watch that show Chopped?
Yeah.
Everything. I don't go into Chopped like with a hangover or an upset stomach. Like I'm really careful before judging that show because inevitably you're going to have to eat something you don't want to. They're like, here's your basket of ingredients. There are gummy worms, cinnamon, cornbread, a slice of pizza, and a bowl of menudo. Make something great. And you know, they're under pressure. A lot of them have never competed. I don't remember the last time I had a great meal on that show. There was one episode, I don't know if it's aired yet, I think it has, where there was like instant coffee flavored with durian. You guys know what durian is? They actually don't allow you to bring durian on public transportation in Asia because you can smell it and it makes people sick. And I was like, they were like, I could smell it in the room while they were cooking with it. And then, you know, you get a plate of it put in front of you and you have to try it. These people have, you know, poured their hearts into this dish with disgusting ingredients. And then I have to eat it. I almost didn't think I was going to make it through that episode. So yeah, I've eaten a lot of stuff.
Hi, Brooke.
Hi.
I have to embarrass my fiance first because he loves you. So it's very
Thank
thrilling
you.
for us to be here. What do you think was your most unexpectedly successful dish on Tournament of Champions?
Oh, on Tournament of Champions. I've really blocked most of that out. I mean, there were a lot of circumstances where I like didn't think I was gonna finish, or like I didn't think something was gonna work, and then yeah, people take it. I gotta say, I know this was a really long time ago. Top Chef season 10, like 62 years ago. And Kristen's gonna be here later today. Kristen and Tom will be here later today. There was, I know that's not the show you asked about, but there was an episode of Top Chef where we had to cook on a cruise from Seattle to Alaska, and we had to do a surf and turf dish, and I think I did like a frog leg and mussel dish. That was one dish, and that was my surf and turf. I'm not even sure that frog legs are considered turf. I wasn't really sure which one was the surf, and it did really well. There was also like an episode in Seattle where I stuffed squid with lamb. Did anybody remember that? Thank you. Thank you. I think I won that episode, that challenge. Yeah, you did. I won that challenge, and I was really proud of myself there. I was like, somebody was like, do you do this all the time? I was like, do I stuff ground lamb into squid? No. Never done that. You do a lot of crazy stuff in the moment on that show. Anyway, yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that I didn't think would work and happened to work, which has worked out well for me. All right, so I've got this pretty little stack of pancakes here, and now it's just a matter of garnishing. And I've got this like slightly spicy maple syrup here with the chilies in it and the fresh scallions, and then you kind of just drizzle that here. In the book, you can see an action shot. There aren't many, but look how pretty that is. And then little cotija cheese. And that's your savory pancake. This perfect little brunch dish, right? That came together pretty quickly. So easy. And then I like to I think I included in most of the sections like 5 cocktails. I love a good cocktail. People are like, "What's your liquor of choice?" I'm like, "Well, it depends on the environment and the atmosphere and the reason behind why I'm drinking." Stupid. The reason behind why I'm drinking. I was like, last Sunday, I had a couple of drinks. I woke up in the morning. I'm going to Kentucky Derby next week, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to dry out before I go to Kentucky. And I haven't had a drink in 5 days, guys. I'm so proud of myself. Yeah. All right. I'm just like moving stuff around here. So I have a blood orange Negroni, and Negroni is one of my favorite drinks. It's like kind of my go-to like summer Italian cocktail. Love a spagliato too. You guys know what a spagliato is? Yes. So spagliato is a Negroni essentially with Prosecco. This is not that. So the Negroni, the traditional Negroni is gin, Campari, and vermouth. I'm using Lillet to sort of brighten it up a little bit, and I've got some fresh blood orange juice here. And it's a really simple little cocktail. I'm just gonna build it in the glass so you can see it. I'm not gonna measure anything out because I don't have anything to measure with, but it's totally fine. We've got gin here, which I love. I'm a big gin fan. Love Campari too. I love a bitter component. For me, everything is about balance, whether it be food, whether it be cocktail, whether it be life, I'm not as good at. But like the bitter, the sweet, the bright acid, which you don't often find in a Negroni, is citrus or acid. So I feel like the addition of the blood orange is a nice sort of sweet, low acid citrus. It doesn't take over the whole cocktail. It also makes a really beautiful color. And Lillet is one of my favorite aperitifs. Just like I grew up with my mom drinking a Lillet on the rocks with a little slice of orange in it. So this totally makes sense to me. So we've got Lillet, Campari, gin, a little fresh squeezed blood orange juice. Look how pretty that is. Gorgeous, right? And then I'm gonna add some, I like to build the cocktail in the glass first so that it's not being diluted while I talk to you guys or take my time doing it. Lots of ice because again, you want to chill this really quickly and not have it become diluted. You really just want it to be a full chilled glass of alcohol. And then chill that. You guys like a Negroni? It's a Negroni, anybody's go-to drink. Like 3 of you. That's It's fine. Maybe you'll try this. Maybe some of you will try this and you'll be excited about it. This doesn't really fit this, but it's fine. And then you have this really beautifully pink cocktail. And then I like to, this is a good cocktail to serve on the rocks, but I like to add the rocks afterwards so that it's not diluted. And then fun little garnish of blood orange, cut a little slice in there, turn it into a fun little cone. And just garnish. Super, super clean, super pretty. Balance that there. There's brunch for you.
Hi, Brooke.
Good. Hi.
So you obviously have a very developed palate. So I ask on the other end of the spectrum, what's your guilty pleasure junk food?
Oh, fun question. My go-to answer is I don't feel guilty about anything. I am a pretty balanced eater on a regular basis, so having like a glazed donut, which would be one of them, like a simple, perfect glazed donut, like a Krispy Kreme, just straightforward. I don't want a bunch of stuff on top of my donut, just like a perfect donut. I'm not gonna feel guilty about that. I know that that's not what you meant by guilty pleasure, but I also love Panda Express orange chicken. I also love like a good instant ramen. I love all ramen. I'm just not. I'm not gonna rule out the like cup of noodles because I grew up craving that. I also love like a good Kraft mac and cheese. Also, like Carl's Jr. bacon western cheeseburger and like a crunch wrap from Del Taco. I actually grew up not being allowed to eat fast food or like sugar cereal. So when I got old enough to do that for myself, I really sort of went out there and did it. Yeah, I'm really low maintenance. I'm really easy to please. Don't tell me something is what it isn't. Don't claim to be something you're not. A Crunchwrap Supreme claims to be exactly what it is, and it's perfect. So I guess I have a few guilty pleasures. Anybody else? No? Those were such easy questions, and they were all food related. I mean, TV and food related. Yeah? You can just yell, it's fine.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.
I've been a big fan for years, and not to lighten the mood, but I know you had to close a restaurant or two a while ago. Given how untenable the restaurant model seems for so many people, what do you attribute to the success of Playa Provisions?
Oh, so the question was, I've been in this industry a very long time. During COVID and before COVID, there's only so much I could really blame COVID for closing multiple restaurants. That was a sort of a mass exodus of having to sadly lay off a lot of employees at once. But the question was, how do you, like, what do you attribute the success of Playa Provisions being in its 11th year? Actually, we sold a restaurant called Hudson House during the pandemic that had been open for 11 years as well. The Triple was open for 10 years. I really feel like there are so many different directions you can go in the restaurant industry. The profit margin in the restaurant industry, just to begin with, is so insanely slim. It's really it's a difficult industry to be in, and I always tell people who say, like, I want to become a chef, I want to open restaurants, like, really only do that if you feel like there's nothing else you want to do. I personally could never see myself doing anything other than what I've done my entire career, so I felt like I had no choice. And I was not in it to make $1 million. I was in it because that's where I wanted to be. And I think that plays a big part in success, is sort of not having the opportunity for failure. My partner still, and my ex-husband / partner and I have opened many restaurants together through SBA loans, which putting our entire lives on the line for a restaurant and having to support a child, I kind of didn't have the opportunity to fail or the option to fail. So that, I think, pouring your whole life into it really helps. But also understanding what the neighborhood that you're going into, understanding a lease and what that lease is asking of you in terms of commitments and financial obligations. It took us a long time to really learn the right environments and scenarios to walk into, and I think that is a trial and error thing. But also, I understand how important local community is, and the people who are coming to my restaurant because they've seen me on TV or they're coming across the city for a special occasion. I'm so appreciative of all of those people who come to me because they have a 2-hour layover and they're in the neighborhood. But the people who really keep me in business are the neighbors who come 4 or 5 days a week and sit at the bar and appreciate that we understand their order and know their name, and that service is as important as food, and the hospitality industry is so all-encompassing. I think really sort of knowing your customer, appreciating your customer, and it's really sort of a perfect storm. It doesn't hurt that I have constant national recognition. Thank you guys. I mean, you guys are all here because you've seen me on TV, or I had the opportunity to write a book, and I don't take that lightly. But I know that if you came to my restaurant because you saw me on TV and you had a bad experience, you're never coming back. So it's really so important to give people the experience that they're looking for. So thank you.
Hi, thank you. I just want to tell you, first, we love watching you compete.
Thank you.
Super exciting. So is Bobby's Triple Threat coming back?
Bobby's Triple Threat is coming back. We shot an entire season in February. We also shot an entire season of Barbecue Brawl. So those Barbecue Brawl will air just before the summer, I think, and then Triple Threat, I think, premieres in August or September. Yeah, we have a new Titan. Her name is Aisha. She has a couple of really phenomenal restaurants in New York. It's a really fun season, and that's all I can tell you. Tiffany Derry has gone over to Fox, and she's now a judge on MasterChef. So Tiffany will not be coming back. Aisha took Tiffany's place.
If you have any additional questions for Brooke, she's going to be signing copies of her book just to your right at the Book Soup signing booth. So don't forget.
I went over my time, didn't I?
No, you're good. You're good. Buy multiple copies in case you want to cook from it more than once.
Each recipe deserves their own copy.
That's right.
You guys also, thank you so much for being here. I know that it's...
Brooke Williamson, ladies and